Today is the feast of the conversion of St. Paul, an important feast day in the history of the Church and the spread of Christianity. This is Roger from MSC Mission Office, and you're with Mission Alive. Paul was essentially a pretty hard man to convert, to change his mind. He was highly educated, a highly intellectual man, a very, very committed Jew, and it took a lot of convincing him that to follow Christ and the way of Christ, or as they called it at the time, to become a follower of the way, that he should do it. He was so convinced that the way the followers of Jesus were wrong that he persecuted them. To him, he saw it as something heretical in the life of the Jewish faith. So Jesus had to really knock him off his horse and say, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" This relates to Sunday's feast, to the Sunday of the Word of God, that the Word comes, and it took a while for the Word to get through to Saul. This is what it's like on mission. It can take a long time for the Word to get through to people and be converted. But we say that to convert an individual is not as hard as converting a culture, a whole group of people, because there are customs and ways of thinking and practices ingrained there that are very, very hard to change. One example is in Papua, up in the Guilala particularly, there was a strong practice of polygamy. Now, this had roots in their political system and the economy even, of why a man, particularly a chief, would take 2, 3, 4 wives, and some necessity to do that. And that's another story. But the French priests would say with that they didn't confront it head on and ban it or take strong actions. One of the old French priests said to me, he said, with that one, we would preach and teach and instruct people and talk with people and encourage people, and then they would say, we do our job and we'll let God sort out the rest. Let God sort it out in God's good time. And at one stage, God did. And again, one of the older French priests said to me, he said, at a certain stage, within a very short period of time, a lot of the chiefs changed. And they took as their only wife their first wife and dismissed the others. But too, under instruction from the French, they didn't just dismiss them and send them away. They realised they had a responsibility to care for that wife and the children. But there was a change, a conversion in the culture and in their thinking. And it took a long time to get to the point, but then within a reasonably short time it changed. So that was a remarkable sort of thing. That was conversion of a group of people on a point of culture. And that can be a difficult thing. But in that, as the French would say, we continue to do our job and we let God sort it out. So we continue to do the right thing. We continue to preach the word. We continue with the mission. And that can go for many things in our own societies today. Many things need changing, need conversion. And while we can work and sometimes even confront it and have all kinds of action groups and pressure groups and all kinds of groups working to better our world, to change things, and that's all very good. But there's got to be a conversion of mind. And this, I think, recently Pope Francis was saying that in regard to the law, he said, we can change the law, we can change the legislation, we can change the theology, But basically, a lot of things, you've got to change people. I think it's talking particularly about the whole problem of abuse. It's people that we've got to change. And the same thing can go for government. They want to legislate against all kinds. They want to legislate against racism and sexism and every kind of ism that's around the place. Fine, that's good. But you've got to change people, change their minds and change their attitudes. That's the conversion, and that's the mission. Thank you.